Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for Promise Day. This is actually the third event for this week and our last for spring. On Monday, we had a wonderful discussion on cybersecurity. I'm not tech savvy, so that was extremely helpful for me. Centria Bucknight Lyons from our IT instructor pool was wonderful to come in and teach us all about that in a way that was relatable and understandable. So if you've not seen that, go back. The YouTube link will be available at the end of this. Yesterday, we had Sharice Potts from Interact, who was talking about healthy relationships, what's consent, when to be concerned, what's a red flag. Also, another helpful opportunity. But today, I think in a way is the most important because Wake Tech, a lot of times students overlook the phrase community in community college. But it's actually one of the most important phrases we've got. We work together as a community to build up our students, our faculty, and our staff. And we have a lot of resources available to students that you may or may not know about, or maybe you've heard the name, but you aren't quite sure what Title IX does. Or is the Dean of Conduct only out there when you misbehave, or is he there as a sounding board? And what about wellness? When do you go to them? Do they report to your teachers? They actually don't. So this is a great opportunity to learn what's available. And maybe it's not you who needs it down the road, but a friend or a fellow family member, student. This is why you need today most of all, because your success is our mission at Wake Tech, and that's what a lot of people don't get. Wake Tech really does care about you as an individual. Now, before we get into today, we are cheating and giving a big thank you now, because a lot of times thank yous are at the end, but Sarah Rothman-Rose has been our technology guru since day one. She started back with us in spring of 2017 when we had the very first Promise Day. And I want to give a big shout out and thank you because you don't see Sarah. She hides. She's not on the screen. But we could not do this without her. And that was even before COVID. She's made it possible to reach all of you. And so a big, big thank you to Sarah Rose for everything you've done and for being patient as we all learn our way around technology. Now, Promise Day started in 2017 because a student came into the Social Sciences Resource Center wearing a wedding dress. She found it for $24 at Goodwill and wanted to do a social experiment and see what happened because she said, I'm smart. What I wear shouldn't matter. And it started as talking about the protests that have gone on where people have gone into businesses wearing wedding dresses. And this is something that happened in Europe as a protest against sexual assault and domestic abuse. And we started saying, well, why couldn't we do that at Wake Tech? And one of the neat things is Wake Tech has supported us in this mission. So you're going to hear today about resources, but remember, it all started because of a conversation. And we want this conversation to continue. So at the end of today, there will be a survey. We really do want your input. We read each and every answer. We want to know what type of events you want in the fall and if you want to be involved, because part of building a better community is listening to each other and helping each other. So I'm now going to turn over to Professor Paige Roseman, but thank you again for joining us. Paige?
Thanks so much, Claire. Can y'all hear me all right? Awesome, thank you. So I have the privilege of introducing each of our panelists and speakers, and I'm first going to introduce Rose Hahn and Chris Ross, who are representing Title IX here today, and give you a little background. So Rose Hahn is a strategic project coordinator and the executive assistant to the EVP. She's an Army veteran and has 12 years of experience working in higher ed. She's worked all across the college level in a variety of positions, and she's passionate about being an advocate for community college students. She received her BS in paralegal studies, her MA in executive leadership from Liberty, and she's here today in her role speaking of Title IX as an officer and investigator. And Chris Ross, up next, I'm just going to introduce both at the same time. Chris's Wake Tech journey started in 2013. She currently serves as Director of Benefits and just brings with her so much experience in HR. Currently, she's managing the benefits department, serves as a Title IX investigator and an instructor. She received her Bachelor of Science in Psychology from ODU and Masters of Arts in Organizational Leadership from Regent University. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to Rose and to Chris. Thank you both.
Thank you very much. Here we're hearing from our Title IX group today, myself, Chris Ross, and Rosemary Hahn. And since we've already had the intros, we'll go ahead and get started with our presentation, Breaking the Silence on Sexual Assault. Let's start with Rosemary.
Thank you, Chris. Next slide. To give you a little background on Title IX, Title IX of Education Amendments of 1972 prohibited discrimination on the basis of sex in any federally funded education program or activity. The Title IX is mandated by the Office of Civil Rights in the U.S. Department of Education, which means that all schools receiving federal funds or provide federal financial aid to students must adhere to any Title IX. Next slide, please. So just to give you some background on some additional information on the Title IX jurisdiction. So this applies to any WakeTech educational program or activities that take place on campus, on any property owned by WakeTech, or any other property controlled by WakeTech. At WakeTech, any sponsored events in any buildings that are owned or any organization or student clubs that are controlled by WakeTech, and also any virtual platforms. Next slide. So to unveil sexual violence, it's prohibited under the Title IX regulations and also by the WakeTech policies. So it falls under the umbrella of sexual violence, including sexual assault, sexual harassment, dating and domestic violence, and stalking. Next slide.
All right. So we want to go ahead and just let you know also, it is our anniversary. So you may have seen the dates at the beginning of the presentation, what Rosemary was going over with you, but it is our 50th anniversary. So you're not sure if you've seen some of the campuses, but I know myself, I was at North Carolina A&T State University last weekend, and they had a huge billboard up celebrating Title IX's 50th anniversary. So I just wanted to bring that out as we continue to go through some of the items that are covered by Title IX. So we'll talk about sexual assault defined. So what is that? You know, we have non-forcible, and then you also have forcible. So under the non-forcible, we're talking about incest or statutory rape. Under forcible, you have any action without consent of the complainant. Also includes instances which the complaint is incapable of giving consent. Some of those cases could be if someone is intoxicated and they're unable to give consent during a particular act. And then also any sexual act directed against another person. And if you see me looking to the right in a different angle, it's because sometimes the font is too small. And due to my youth, I need to see a different font size. All right. So I'm going to ask some questions. What are the stats on sexual violence? You'll see later in the presentation, Rosemary, I'll go over where these stats come from and what that organization does and what they provide. But just to give you a few of them that's presented, how many women reported experiencing sexual violence during their lifetime? 1 in 6. So 1 out of every 6 American woman has been the victim of or an attempt or completed rape in her lifetime. And those are some pretty significant stats. And this is provided to us by RAIN, which will provide more information on at the latter part of the presentation. And how many men reported experiencing sexual violence during their lifetime? Well, males aged 18 to 24 who are college students are approximately 5 times more likely than non-students of the same age group to be victims of rape or sexual assault. So you'll see in this picture that's provided, in addition to the women, non-students aged 18 to 24, and then college students aged 18 to 24. Okay, we can progress. All right, that's the one I was going over. And then we'll progress again. There we go. All right. So we'll talk about locations. Where does this normally happen for the most part? And what age group is most affected by sexual assault? So here, the age group most affected by sexual assault, the majority of sexual assault victims are under 30. So we have 15% between age 12 and 17, 54% between age 18 to 34, 28% between the ages of 18 and 64, and then 3% as we mature. The sexual breakdown of locations where sexual assault occurs. The highest percentage is the 55% at or near the victim's home. So majority of these cases are near a victim's home, and a lesser at school or on school property. Next slide. So we do have a policy here at WakeTech, and a lot of it mimics the federal policy that's out there, but I also want to just make sure I point out where to find it. So there's the link there, and I'll ask Sarah if she can add that in the chat if needed. This, of course, you can find on our portal. You can locate it even by just using the search box at the top of the portal, just to type in Title IX, it'll take you straight to the policy also. Next slide. I want to point something out that's also on that policy page. That Get Help link that's right there, that red box, once you actually find the Title IX page on the website, once you click on that Get Help link, it'll take you directly to our forms page, where you can actually enter as much information as possible about any instance that may have happened to you. It also, we will accept anonymous submissions. If you happen to see something, our keyword is see something, or key phrase, see something, say something. So please, if you've even witnessed something, you're able to submit. So again, once you find our actual policy page, the Get Help link is right there, which takes you to our forms page. And please provide as much information as possible. That actually helps myself as an investigator, Rosemary, any of our team be able to progress from there. Next slide.
So here we have our Title IX team. We have a general compliance coordinator, which is Laura Bethay. And then in addition, we have 2 deputy coordinators who handle a lot of the HR and also student conduct. And then we have 4 Title IX investigators who help with the investigation process. And then we have a total of 8, including faculty and staff, that handle the hearing and the appeal process. Next slide. So here we have some of our on-campus and also, if needed, virtual resources. Always, campus police are here for you. By calling 919-866-591, you will reach our dispatch, and they'll be able to help you with our police officers that are on campus. We also have, and you'll hear from Elaine from our wellness services. And also for our staff and faculty, we have an employee assistance programs that can help with any type of situation. Next slide, please. And I heard that Professor McElvaney spoke about Interact. Just to give you a little more information, you know, they've been here for 40 years and they've worked with Wake County. So they are a local resource that you can use. RAIN, in which they provided a lot of our statistics. They are a rape, abuse, and incest national network, and they are the biggest one across. And they can also help with survivors, educating the public, and improving public policy. And we also have Victim Connect. This is also a, you can call them for any type of emotional support. They also help victims to find information and connect with resources. They're available phone, chat, text, and lastly, we have National Sexual Assault Hotline, and they are completely confidential and have 24/7 support. Next slide.
Oh, yes.
So this is one of our upcoming events that we have, and if you could please join us on April 27th. It is National Denim Day to show our support, to support our survivors and educate them and others all about the forms of sexual violence. Next slide. At this point, we can take any questions or feedback.
While we're waiting just a moment for questions, I wanted to mention as well that, sometimes it takes a minute to process. So as questions come to you, and as we go ahead and move along with a couple of other of our panelists, feel free to drop your questions into the chat. If you're not comfortable entering them into the chat, we hope that you'll contact us and we'll provide our contact information as well, and make sure not only through the survey, but through our emails that you have contact information. Oh, great. And it looks like some resources being shared here, and some big takeaways. Thank you. I'll turn it back over. Sorry, Title IX, if y'all want to take this.
No, you're fine. We just wanted to make sure we said thank you for actually taking the time to listen to us. Please check out our website. Again, see something or you hear something, say something. Please file a report. Sarah's provided the link in the chat. I see that. And contact us for guidance and support. Title IX at WTCC. Thank you.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Rosemary. I really appreciate everything that you've shared with us. And like I said, y'all continue to drop questions into the chat. I'm going to go ahead and introduce next. I already see some thank yous coming in. Introduce next Dean Wirt. And we just have so many incredible advocates for students, for faculty and staff. And Dean Wirt is Dean of Student Life and Conduct Officer. He's actually been serving students in North Carolina higher education for over 30 years. I feel like that deserves a round of applause. Ranging from four-year private universities to community colleges and beyond. This month, he's celebrating 9 years at Wake Tech as Dean of Student Life and Conduct Officer. In his role, he works collaboratively with campus police, wellness services, and others. He earned his doctorate in community college executive leadership recently and fulfills his calling as a practitioner through the daily interactions advocating for students. And he'll share his mantra with you, but just to give a little insight here, his mantra is a safe and secure student is a successful student. He lives in Cary with his wife of 17 years, another Dr. Wirt who works at NC State, their son Michael, and Yorkie Cooper. So thanks. I'll let you take it from here, Dean Wirt.
Thank you very much. It's a joy to be here, and I want to welcome everyone that's with us today. And a special, again, thank you to Sarah, who's in the background, and of course, Claire and Paige, and all of our resources that are representative here. And you're going to be getting a lot of good information. But I just want to say a special thank you to the students that are logged in. It's been a very challenging time. And I want to congratulate you on persevering. And this topic is a very serious topic, and one that we need to address. And so on this Promise Day, as we are looking at this month of National Sexual Assault Awareness, it's important for you to be aware that there are resources, but there are also people behind the resources that truly care for you. So in this role as Dean of Student Life, it's all about the life of the student. Now, outside of activities and clubs and leadership, the bottom line is that you have a life, and that life impacts what happens on campus. I think Claire wrote, what happens off campus impacts what happens on campus. You can't disconnect whatever issues you're having off campus outside of the classroom. And again, it's about a safe and a secure student is a successful student. So for you to be successful, you've got to be in an education environment that's safe and secure. And so you've heard about Title IX, and you're going to be hearing about wellness. I want to give some practical resources that are available to you no matter which campus. So specific to the other role that I have, which is the Office of Student Conduct, we have several conduct officers here that are available for consult. I mean, you don't have to be in trouble to see a conduct officer because we're here as a resource to basically direct and navigate and advocate for you. So let me stop here and say congratulations, because not only have you gone through all the challenges of the pandemic, you are actually going in your educational environment at the largest community college in North Carolina. And that may not be saying much, but the other part of that is true. We're the third largest community college system in America. There's California, there's Texas, and then there's North Carolina. So you're attending the largest community college and the third largest community college system in America. We have 58 community colleges, and yes, you're at the largest one. But what's really unique about Wake Tech is you're not going to get lost in the largeness, because we have so many resources and that you're learning about. And again, we're just a component. So what does Promise Day mean to you? I want to bring your attention to what Promise Day is articulated as. We've heard Title IX presented about the reporting culture, but Promise Day is what? It is promise to speak up and promise to listen. So what is first, the listening or the speaking up? We can't listen as a care person, as a resource, unless you speak up. And so I hope if you get anything from this presentation that you realize that there really are people behind the titles, that they're here with many years of experience, and they're here at the largest community college to care for you and to help you navigate. And so the first part is for you to speak up, and hopefully you'll feel comfortable to do that. But when you do that, we're all on this call and in this meeting, and those that we represent are here to listen. Just to have a voice, we want you to know that we have an ear to hear that voice. And I hope you'll take advantage of these resources. So what practically do I offer as the Dean of Student Life, as an Office of Conduct, and also in the collaboration of representing campus police on today's meeting? Well, let's just start with campus police. First of all, this is a very wonderful characteristic distinction, but we do not have security here. I'm going to repeat that. We do not have security. We have sworn police officers. Our previous president, Dr. Scott, would mention about how our campus is almost like a small municipality. It's like a small city. And he was like the mayor. And we have a chief of police, and then we have police officers on every campus. These are sworn officers. They can arrest. They carry real guns with real bullets. They can arrest, and they are here for one reason and one reason only: to provide you a safe, secure environment to be successful. And so what can they do as police officers? Well, first of all, as Rose mentioned, you need to be aware of the dispatch number. And again, you can find on the website, but you need to have it in your cell phone: 919-866-5911. That's a number you're going to call whenever you're needing some type of assistance from our campus police. And by the way, on behalf of campus police, I can tell you that there won't be a call that you should not make. If you feel it in your gut that you need the police, you call the police. They want you to do that. Campus police can provide escorts. They can provide escorts from your class to your car. They can provide escorts any relative to the campus. They can also be liaisons with local municipalities and magistrates. We actually have students here, believe it or not, that have current restraining orders. And I tell you that because what happens off campus comes on campus. So if you were to have a restraining order, we would want a copy of it here at the college with campus police, because we will enforce it. To give you that measure of safety and security, you will know that Sworn officers are aware of someone who is not supposed to be near you, or more so, not supposed to be on this campus. And we can enforce that through our campus police. That should give you some security if you, again, have to take things that are going on in your life off campus and bring it on campus. Those are just some of the examples that are available. Campus police work with faculty members to help them manage their classrooms. But you just need to be aware that they're here for you, and they assist these other areas that you're hearing from to be effective as a resource. Now, the Office of Student Conduct. What do we do and what can we do? Well, one of the things that we do, very practically speaking, very similar to a restraining order, but not a restraining order, but it's one that would be as effective, and that we have, and we can put in place no contact orders. Basically, what that means is that if there was an ever incident between you and another student, and you want to move on beyond whatever has happened, we can put a no contact order, which basically says that you cannot speak to them and they can't speak to you, be it face to face, in a classroom, online, etc. Wonderful thing about a no contact order is that no party is given a charge or sanction. So it's kind of being proactive. And that's why it's very important. Again, promise to speak up so we can promise to listen, but also to act. It's a very simple plan that we put in place. And we have so many of these in place. They're confidential. And if a faculty member needs to know that, so they won't put two students in a cohort together, they will honor that. How is that effective? Well, the no contact order basically asks each person not to communicate with each other. If one does, that's a failure to comply, and failure to comply is a violation of code of conduct, which would lead to a charge or a sanction. You've heard from Title IX about sexual assault or harassment. One other violation of the code of conduct that we enforce and take very seriously, and all of this can be found on the website, is the conduct violation that's entitled verbal, mental, or physical abuse of any kind of any person on college premises, online, or at a college-sponsored or supervised events. So this type of bullying, hazing, stalking, intimidation, these are all the things that should not be taking place, and that is a violation of code of conduct. But again, we cannot enforce a charge and a sanction until someone speaks up. And that's where we remind you, we're here to help. We want to hear you, and we want to effectively put in place matters to provide you safety and security. And then just to let you know that students can be charged and sanctioned. If there's an incident, a person can actually be suspended. They can be removed from the college for all premises and all campuses, never to be in a classroom with you for a period of time, maybe a year, 2 years. And then there's expulsion. Expulsion is permanent. A student can never come back on campus. And by the way, when I say never, that means they're trespassed. That means if they step on their campus, they would be arrested. All of these measures are put in place to help the victim know that they are in a very safe and secure environment, even if it is the largest community college, even if it's the third largest community college state system in America. You have those resources, but it takes you speaking up before we can listen and be effective. And I would just like to close from a personal story. As noted, next month will be 17 years of marriage. But 5 years ago, my wife was working at a university, and an ex-fiance began calling her at work at the university. So it wasn't a student, but it was an employee, but still, these conversations began to increase. They became to be aggressive. They became to become sexual. And in the whole mantra of practice what you preach, as the spouse, I told her to call the campus police. She called the campus police. So what took place? She was advised to send this person an email, copying in the campus police, and advising that individual not to call her anymore. And what happened at the end of that story, it ended it. Do you think the calls would have stopped if the campus police weren't involved? And how difficult was it for the campus police to be involved? But how effective was it? And not only that, but my wife would tell you that she feels secure in knowing that she involved the campus police. She knows that they're aware of her situation. It's confidential. Not others are aware of this, but the people that need to know. Again, the promise they promise is to promise to speak up so that we as the employees can listen and assist. So I want to thank you for your participation today on this serious topic. I hope that you will consider the resources that are available to you. Hope you'll never have to use them. And you may not have to use them yourself, but if you know of somebody that's going through something, a sexual assault, stalking, please advise them of these resources that you're now aware of. Because again, a safe and secure student is a successful student. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dean Wirt. And I am going to go ahead and open it up again for questions. Y'all feel free to go ahead and put those into the chat as you will over the next few minutes. And Dean Wirt, thank you so much for sharing from your professional role as Dean of Student Conduct, but also for the police and their role. Thank you for reminding us of resources campus-wide, of violations of the student code of conduct that make people unsafe and not feel secure, and all of the steps that can be taken to restore that safety and security. That was so powerful. So thank you for sharing from your personal life as well as from your professional expertise and your role as an advocate here at the college. We really appreciate it. All of the ways that you serve us and our students. So thank you. And I want to go ahead, just kind of being mindful of time, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our wellness counselors. This is going to be a double introduction again, and then I'll let y'all take it away, and we'll open it back up in a few minutes for questions for everybody. All right. Sorry, just a second here. All right. I'm sorry, I have misplaced my little role, but I will just go ahead and let them introduce themselves. Elaine Rodriguez and Amanda Allen, we are so grateful to have you both here. We're grateful for the role that you serve as licensed clinical counselors. Since 2019, you've been with our team, and we are grateful to have you. And we hope that you'll just share a little bit about yourselves as you get started and share about wellness today. Thank you.
Thank you, Paige. We are happy to be here. So we are wellness counselors for WakeTech. My name is Amanda Allen. So like Paige said, I have been here since 2019. Elaine and I actually started around within a week of each other. I am primarily at South Campus and work once a week at RTP. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we offer with wellness services. And then Elaine's going to share some additional services that we have. So with wellness services, we provide brief counseling and referral services. We do that in a supportive environment, really to empower students. We want them to achieve their personal and academic goals. Wellness services is free to currently enrolled students. However, those students that are not currently enrolled, we are welcomed to have them contact us for referrals to community resources. We use a brief solution-focused model of counseling. We offer individual counseling, so that's providing that one-on-one session. We do that both in person and virtually. We also offer crisis counseling, so that would be, emotional support, interventions, feedback to assist students that are in crisis. And then we do other services, so that could include group counseling, providing workshops, referrals, consultation. So just talking a little bit about what counseling helps with. So it helps with a variety of issues. So things like clarifying a problem, sometimes we get stuck in life, and really helping to talk that out with somebody. So becoming unstuck, regaining a sense of control or pleasure in life, increasing confidence, finding solutions to life's problems, exploring opportunities for change, and then really just discovering personal strengths and how to use those. So we see students for a variety of reasons. So some common ones, so this is not an exhaustive list, is stress, depression, anxiety, trauma, grief and loss, anger, suicidal thoughts, relationships. It is important to note that you do not have to have a diagnosis to come see us. So as mentioned before, sometimes there's just an issue that you're kind of stuck on and just need somebody to help process that with. All contact with students is treated as confidential, so counseling files are not part of academic records. There are a few exceptions to confidentiality. So that might be if a student has provided us with a signed written consent for release of information. So like if we were to make a referral somewhere, we would get that written consent to share information. If we have a student that's expresses intent to harm themselves or another person, or if there's reasonable suspicion of abuse or neglect of a minor child, elderly person, or dependent adult. And then also, if we receive a subpoena or other court order that requires us to disclose information, and that's going to be in a rare situation. So appointments, they are made online via bookings at wellness.waketech.edu under appointments and contacts. Like I said, we schedule both on campus and virtually. Once an appointment is made, you will receive an email with forms to complete prior to that first appointment. That includes our intake form, disclosure form, and then consent to teletherapy if you are meeting with us virtually. If you're not able to make an appointment online, you are welcome to give us a call or email us to schedule. And then Elaine is going to talk about some additional services that we offer.
Thank you, Amanda, and thanks everyone again for joining us today to discuss this very sensitive topic. Like Amanda said, I started just about the same time as her. I'm primarily at Scott Northern campus and then once a week at Perry Health Sciences campus. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and received my degree from the University of Connecticut. So the first resource I wanted to discuss is our student assistance program, This is a partnership we have, and it offers assistance for personal, professional, or school-related concerns. They also, similar to Amanda and myself, provide free and confidential counseling services and can provide referrals as well. So again, wellness counselors are still available, but this student assistance program is available to you 24/7, 365 days a year. It's not only available to you as students, but your immediate family members as well, so those who do live in the household. There's no program enrollment required, and again, all contact with the SAP is treated as confidential, so they do not report back to the wellness counselors and certainly not to WakeTech if you do contact them. They address many concerns, so relationship issues, family conflict, trauma, as well as work-life concerns, so you can call for consultation for financial or legal services as well. And thank you, Sarah, for sharing the website here. And the second resource I wanted to discuss is Therapy Assistance Online, or TAO for short. And this includes brief, effective educational sessions for mental health and wellness topics. This would include trauma as well. This, of course, is available to you 24/7, and it is free to register for. You'll see the link there to register, and it's single sign-on, so you'll just use your WakeTech email address and password. If anyone does have any trouble registering for TAO, please just contact Amanda or myself, or our general inbox, which is wellness.waketech.edu. At this point, I will open it up for any questions you all might have, either about the services that Wellness provides or TAO and the SAP. And again, if you might not be comfortable asking in the chat here, please just email Amanda or myself or give us a call. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elaine, and thank you, Amanda, as well. I know that it might take a couple minutes for questions to come in, but I just wanted to say a big thank you, and just kind of re-emphasize what you all have hit on, which is that we here at the community college, we all work together in all the ways that we can to help advocate for students. I really appreciate everyone who shared with us today, from Title IX to Dean Wirt, also representing police services and wellness. I think that it's incredible thinking about the set of individuals kind of behind the titles, and we really appreciate y'all sharing. I also wanted to just take a minute here, kind of as we wait for some questions to come in, and let y'all know that Sarah Rose, who we've mentioned several times, our behind the scenes guru, she's going to be sharing a survey. We would absolutely love for y'all to, if you'd like to get involved in future events, to give us some feedback about topics you'd like to see. For example, Monday's presentation on cybersecurity, on stalking, harassment, and bullying online, and resources, as well as ways to work towards prevention. That was a big topic that students had brought forth in previous events that they wanted to see. So we really appreciate y'all's thoughtfulness in filling out that survey. We have also been just a whole group of faculty, staff, and students who have collaborated in the past. So if you would like to get involved in future events, we also just want to encourage you to fill out that survey and leave information there as well. Claire has spoken several times just throughout this week on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and we will share the links, by the way, to those events if you weren't able to attend live but would like to go back and review and share those. She had shared, the importance of the focus on the online space and protecting ourselves well and working towards safety there, but psychological association on that kind of red zone. We worry about students not just in the fall, but throughout the semester. And we know that there are certain times when you really need to be arming and equipping each of us to take part in that safer campus culture. So that's something that I just wanted to share as we're opening it up for questions. We think about the online space and safety, but we also want to focus on being physically present on the campus too. And Claire, if I've forgotten anything, feel free to jump in.
Well, I just wanted to add one thing, because I know sometimes students don't want to put questions in, but then you contact us after, which we love. So we're all for it. I want to point out, a lot of times students say, well, should I report or should I talk about this because it wasn't big? Law and Order has taught us that everything's big and huge and massive, and it's not. Sometimes it's that icky feeling, or that I don't know if this is harassment. We want you to bring all of that to us, because just because it doesn't seem like it's going to make headline news doesn't mean it might not disrupt you, or that it might not be something. And if it is a misunderstanding, even that is something that sometimes it helps to have a facilitator or a mediator to help you work through. So don't ever hesitate or think, is this too small? Or maybe I'm getting my nose out of joint over one text and I shouldn't be upset by it. If it is enough to disrupt you or to distract you, We want to know about it so that we have that opportunity to help you address it and determine if it is something more concerning. But don't panic. I had a student in the past who did not want to report something because she didn't want her friend to get arrested unnecessarily. That's not where we jump. Nobody jumps that way. It is always first a conversation. And what's going on, let's examine it. So please don't hesitate. That icky feeling is an important feeling. Bring it to us. And that's all I want to add. Paige, I'll let you take back over.
Thank you so much. And thank you to Sarah. I see that there is information from wellness in the chat, and then right underneath that, there's the survey too. So we'll leave it open for a couple more minutes, and Dean Wirt, Rosemary, Elaine, Amanda, y'all feel free to jump in as well as we're wrapping up. Oh, awesome. And thank you, Sarah, for putting in the chat as well. The Tuesday's presentation, which was from Interact, Charisse Potts of Interact spoke with us about the growing issues around sexual assault and community resources that Interact offers. And we did an activity exploring red flags and close relationships that was really powerful. And then the second link shared in the chat, our own Professor Centria Buchwright-Leons shared about safety in online spaces, stalking, harassment, and the ways in which those are becoming an increasing problem, and the ways that the resources we have to address that, and then some really incredible practices for upping safety and privacy online as we think about interacting. So much of our lives are lived online now, as we think about interacting in that space as well. Thank you so much, Sarah. All right. So without further questions, we'll go ahead and wrap up this event. But as we said before, please contact us. Please reach out with any questions. We are thankful and grateful to each of you for joining the call, and to those who will watch this recording later, and encourage you to fill out that survey and to get in touch with us as well. Thank you.